Good afternoon, all of you. Myself, Professor Dilip Saini. I am from the FET, Rama University, from the CSE department, Computer Science and Engineering department. And today I am nothing but discussing about implementation of LAN and WAN in using the Boson Net Sim. Okay, so when we discuss about the implementation of the LAN and WAN using Boson Net Sim, here in the industry, nobody is going to allow to work or implement in their LAN or WAN. So what we are doing, we are nothing but using the part of Boson Net Sim, which is known as a simulator, where we have nothing implementing the LAN and WAN depend upon the customization use of the part. So where we are nothing but discussing about or implementing. Before going ahead with the part of Boson Net Sim, just I want to give the brief intro about the ISO OSI model. ISO OSI model is the model which we implemented in all the networking device. In the ISO OSI model, which contain the 7 layers. First thing we are discussing about the part of 7 layer of ISO OSI model, which is very important in the part of ISO OSI model. In the ISO OSI model, whatever things we have in the part of networking, in the part of security, all the 7 layers are involved. Just I am giving the brief information about the ISO OSI model, because here when we using the devices which we are nothing but implemented the part, you have to understand where we are nothing but utilizing the part of that device. In the ISO OSI model contain the 7 layer. First layer is physical layer, second one is data link layer, third one is network layer, fourth one is transport layer, fifth one is session layer, sixth one is presentation layer, and seventh one is known as the application layer. Basically in the part of network administrator, or we having network designer, we are dividing entire 7 layer in 2 parts. First one is known as user interface layer. Here all the developers are performing their task from the session, presentation, application layer. But we are from the networking field, or we are from the networking technical, we are discussing all the things from the part of layer 1 to layer 4, that is known as the network interface layer. In that part, in physical layer, which contain all the dumb device, just like we are having hub, we have connectors, we having. Then we are moving toward the next part known as data link layer. In data link layer, it contain all the information which contain which is known as a logical address, or known as a MAC address, we are calling physical address or no MAC address, which contain, just like we have NIC card, we have a network interface card lie in the data link layer. Then we are moving in the part of data link layer, we are having device known as switch, we are implemented using in the part of implementing LAN. So this is a symbolic diagram of the switch which we are implementing in the part of Boson Net Sim. Then we are moving for the next part known as a network layer which working on the logical address, which contain the device which is known as a router, which symbolic diagram of router is this way. And when we are moving toward the part of transport layer, which contain the part of ISP, known as internet service provider router, this should be the like this way. So basically we have whatever things we are implementing, we have to implement in the part of first 4 layer, which is known as the network interface layer. So that is a basic requirement of the ISO OSI model, which we are implementing in the part of understanding the LAN implementation using Boson Sim. Now we are moving toward the next part, where we have nothing but implementing the LAN using the Boson Net Sim. Here everybody have discussed about the topology, but in my topology what happened, nothing but I have used the part of 2 switch 1 and 2 switch, where I have cascade the part. Simple thing, if I use a single switch also, we can implement in the part of star topology, but I have implemented star and tree. So both topology I have implemented in my LAN implementation. What happened, nothing but here I have taken the switch, just like when we open the Boson Net Sim, here we have n number of switch, we have considered the switch which is known as 2500 switch or 1500, depend upon your requirement, depend upon number of port, you can able to select the switch, and after that you can able to drag and drop the number of PCs. So here when I am implementing the part of Boson Net Sim, I don't require any devices, I don't require the connecting cable, I don't require the machine, but I can able to understand the part. So here I have dragged the part of one switch known as switch 1 and switch 2, and I have first of all cascade the 2 switch 1 and switch 2, and I have nothing but connected the 4 machine 1, machine 2, PC 1, PC 2, PC 3, PC 4. PC 4 are connected to the switch 1, whereas the PC 5 and 6 are connected to the part of switch 2. When I want to give assign the IP address, I have assigned the IP address which is known as the 192.168.1.1, which is known as from the class C for the machine 1, machine 2, machine 3, machine 4. Then after, if I want to check, I will check the connectivity using the command known as the ping 192.168.1.4. If I pinging here, I am getting the reply from that, which indicate that machine 1 and machine 4 are connected we have. These are things we are implementing in the part of LAN we have implemented, but my intention is going ahead with the part of implementation of WAN. So we are discussing in the part of next part where we are discussing about implementation of the Boson Net Sim in the WAN, and this thing is required in the part. Okay, up to in the part of previous session we have discussed about the ISO-OSI model, implementation of LAN. Now we are in the part of part 3, we are discussing about implementation of WAN. WAN stands for wide area network. We are implementing the WAN using the Boson Net Sim. When implementing the part of WAN, we have to think that in scenario where people are, suppose one person is sitting in the part of Rama University Kanpur and one of my friend or one of my students sitting in the part of Delhi. How the people from the Rama University from Kanpur going to communicate with the people from the Delhi? That is scenario we have considered. If I use the part, so here these are the link which is known as ISP we having, maybe the part of BSNL, maybe part of the Reliance Jio, that they having the cable. But these are the network which is known as the Rama network, and this is the network which is I have for the Delhi office, my head office I have in Delhi. So that is the Delhi office network we have. These are the things we having the, which is known as the LAN, which we have implemented in the previous part, where we having switch and we have machine we have. Again here we have switch and here we have machine. But when we see the part of LAN of my Delhi network, which contain the 192.168.1.1, which is consist of the part of class C, whereas in the part of my Rama Kanpur network, which having 10.1.1, which is the class A. So it is not possible to communicate from the part of Rama University from Kanpur to my Delhi head office. So I require one device. I require device which can able to provide the communication from the part of Kanpur Rama University to the Delhi head office. So I require the router. This router I am putting in the part of my Kanpur campus at the part of firewall, where we are nothing but going for the outgoing traffic. Here I am putting one router for the Delhi office which is providing the part of outgoing traffic for Delhi. So in that part of router of Delhi is going to connect with the E0, which is known as Ethernet from the local LAN of Delhi, and this is connected to the part of ISP we having. It is connected to the ISP of Delhi. Suppose I have in the Delhi office, they have taken the lease line of the BSNL, so it is connected to the BSNL. Suppose in the part of Kanpur, we have taken the lease line of Reliance Jio, so this is connected to the Reliance Jio, and Reliance Jio and whatever BSNL is communicating, we don't know that part, but we can at the end we can able to communicate the part. So first thing we are nothing configure the part of IP address of the local host K1. Suppose we are assuming that the K1 want to communicate with the part of D1. K1 want to communicate with D1 means 10.1.1 is want to communicate with the 192.168.1.1. If right now I am pinging the part, that time I am getting the host is unreachable, means K1 is unreachable to the D1. When the K1 is unreachable to D1, that thing means whatever things we have used the part of switch, we have used the part router, then also we have not able to. So we have to configure something. We have to configure the switch, we have to configure the router. In the part of routers, we have to configure the IP of E0. We have configured the router E0 10.1.1.100, and that IP address can be working as a gateway for this thing. So here we have mentioned the gateway. This is working, whatever the IP address we are giving for the router at the E0 of the Kanpur network, that IP is working as a gateway. So here in the part of K1 we have to assign the gateway, whatever IP address we have given the part. Again we have to communicate with the part of our Reliance Jio. So whatever the IP address they are giving the part for the router, suppose they have given the IP address on a 168.148.1.1, that I have to configure as my WAN link. Again here same thing I have to do at the Delhi office. Whatever IP address I have for the D1 192.168.1.1, again I have to assign the gateway. Whatever the IP address I have to assign for the E0 we having, same IP address I am assigning for the my gateway. After that I have to communicate with the part of ISP of the Delhi office. In the Delhi office we have taken the BSNL lease line, so I have to take the IP address of BSNL 168.148.1.1 and I have to assign. After configuring everything, then also we are not able to getting communicated, means K1 is unable to communicate with the D1. Why? Because we have not set the part of route we have. So we have to discuss about the routing, maybe have static routing, maybe go for the dynamic routing, maybe go for the ISP, RIP or OSPF. that routing protocol when we configure, that time we can able to, K1 can able to communicate with the D1 we having. So whatever thing, but in the part of Boson Net Sim is giving the part of compatibility that you can able to just drag and drop the part of which router you have to configure, which you can able to implement that part. You can able to implement for the multiple things we have in multiple city, and whatever thing, everything here we are, what thing we are doing in the part of understanding, or we are nothing getting the practical approach for the student for implementing the part of WAN in the part of Boson Net Sim. Here we having two types of router, we having module router and n number of non-module. Just like we have S0, we have single port of WAN. Suppose if I Kanpur want to connect to the part of Chennai also, we have to activate this one. If I want to communicate the Kanpur, want to communicate with the part of Mumbai, we can able to activate this part. Suppose if I want to go ahead for the connecting the part of more than 3 city, I have to connect to the USA. That time I have to nothing but replace this router, or I have to add the part of model router, where because here I have the 3 WAN link we have. When we having compatibility of connecting the 3 WAN port, if I want to go ahead, I can able to increase the part of WAN port in the part of my router. This way we are implementing in the part. So I am discussing about the part of WAN Boson Net Sim, which is giving the practical understanding of the implementation of the how the communication happen from the 2 different cities using the without disturbing any network. Thank you very much.